the next Showtime Comedy Club, Kamau Bell crosses the racial divide.
My daughter's afro started to pop out. My wife's like, ah. I'm like, what happened? She's like, I sprayed water in her hair. I was like, no! You don't spray water into a black person's hair without a plan!
Directed by Morgan Spurlock.
By having a child with a white person, I've taken the possibility of another white person out of the mix. Do you understand what I'm saying? I believe Malcolm X said, by any means necessary.
Kamau Bell, Semi-Prominent Negro, premieres Friday, April 29th on Showtime.
So, did you guys hear about this new CNN show, The United Shades of America?
I wish that my ancestors had picked their own cotton.
You and me both, sir.
You don't take a champion racehorse and made it to a mule.
Please don't dumb it down for me. I'll try to keep up.
There's a thing about Portland about the hipster.
Yes.
Now, is that a dirty word here? Hipster is the N-bomb of Portland.
Gentrification affects every major city.
I'm not a Latino. I'm a black guy. It's funny because everything you're saying makes me feel like, I think I'm a Chicano.
If somebody asks where I'm from, I always lead with Alaska because people just lose their minds. And of course, the inevitable, do you know Sarah Palin question comes up.
Do you know Sarah Palin?
I've met her on a few occasions.
How long does it last? What do you like about living so far away from mainstream society?
Freedom.
I hear they call you the mayor of San Quentin. Black guy's got the basketball court. No surprise there. America's a country that likes to give people second chances. Yeah. But for some reason, prisoners don't usually get that second chance. No. You get defined by the worst moment of your life.
Stay there, don't move.
There's problems all over the country with police and how police are doing their thing and what police are doing, but we can't have that. I got kids. It's overwhelming.
Thanks, everybody.
They're excited.
They are very excited to talk to you.
Yeah.
Hear you talk.
Thank you. Yes. Hi.
I hope they are not. I hope this isn't exciting to you. I mean, I hope this is not the thing that you're clapping. You should be clapping for him.
Just like my mom always hoped for.
I mean, let's get right into it. I've watched this episode. I've watched you meet with these guys. Talk to me about this. What made you want to meet with members of the KKK? How much fear did you have going into that?
Oh, no, I didn't have anything to drink. I wanted to be clear and focused and be able to run if need to be, you know?
No slow, slurry run or anything?
No. It was a time to have lots of Red Bull and caffeine. The idea for the show, it was pitched to me. Originally, it was a show called Black Men, White America, where a black man would go around and go to white places every week. And I was like, that's great. What happens after episode 4? We're back at the country club. But I got
the minor league baseball team.
Exactly. So I wasn't really into that. And I said, well, what if we go all sorts of places? And then we changed it to United Shades of America. But I thought if we're going to go to places, the whole idea is places that you wouldn't expect me to go or I shouldn't go. I thought if we're going to do that, how about the Klan as the first episode? That was my idea. I thought if we're going to sell this, let's actually do something, you know.
And you sort of state this in the episode. You didn't think that they would allow you to sort of go that far, that they would kind of work you down to something a little less.
I thought maybe CNN would, because it's on CNN. I thought maybe they go, oh, that's great, but no, let's not do that. But they were like, let's look into it, and they did, and then I went
and look into it. It's like, let's see how safe we can make it.
Yeah. They gave me. I had one security guard. He was an ex-LAPD officer. Wow. Which at the time I was like, now who's my security for my security? Uncup too soon. Yeah, but he was great. We ended up having a great time, and we went to 3 different Klan groups, and I got to talk to people and have real conversations with members of the Klan and come back alive.
So sort of a hacky question, but what were you most surprised by in talking to these guys?
That the ideology goes so deeply that one guy said he doesn't believe the races should mix. He also doesn't believe that his Skittles should mix. That when he eats his Skittles, he separates them by color. which to me is like a sign of insanity. That's a sign. I don't have that much time in my day where I open a bag of Skittles and go, hold on, everybody.
Insanity, Kamau, or consistency?
Yes,
Come on here.
It's a consistent worldview. It's just you have to have a lot of free time to really go through an entire bag of Skittles and
You
separate.
could be an incredible organizer if you need it, you know?
He actually, just to be clear, it's the guy in the blue, Clanny Smurf, the guy I call Clanny Smurf. Yeah.
Well, I would say about him, I mean, in seeing this episode, you talked to a number of different members of the Klan, and he, to me, seemed to be the least articulate, thoughtful of them. Not to say any of them are particularly thoughtful, but they sort of have it down, you know?
Well, he was he was claimed to be the leader of this group, which is why he gets to wear the bright, shiny colors. Ironically, the higher up you move in the Klan, the more color you get to wear. It's funny how that works.
There's very little irony noticed when it comes to the Klan. Yeah.
No, and he actually sent me an email recently, like excited for the show to come out. He's like, I see the commercials. I know it's coming out. I hope you didn't make us look too bad.
It's one of those things, and I was telling you this, like I think in the green room, that for so many members, so many racists or like Klan members, sometimes it just seems like being a part of the Klan or a skinhead sometimes is like their private nerd group or something where they live a part of a fantasy.
It's like LARPers gone wrong, really.
That's really what it is. Knights of the Templar of the White Day, you know, like what are they? They're just sort of trying to live some fantasy world.
Well, and I mean, America was built on white supremacy. I'm not breaking any news here.
What?
Yeah. So, and the idea is that some white people, not even you white people here, you're some of the good ones. You're not like the rest. You speak so well. Thank you, one person brave enough to laugh. So these guys were born with an idea and were raised with an idea of white supremacy, but they live in a small town that doesn't have a lot of opportunities. They don't have good jobs. They're mad about whatever. And they feel like I was told I was supreme because I'm white. Black people must be oppressing me, even though there's not that many black people in this town. Somehow black people are holding me back. And if we got all the black people out of this country, my life would be better.
What did you think when you're talking to someone, because you're very good, and I don't know if it's through editing or if you just sort of knew to do this while you're doing these interviews, you're pretty good at holding back on these guys. There are moments where I think you ask one guy who's standing next to a playground in I think his yard or someone's yard, and you say, my daughter would love to play on this. Could she play on this, with your daughter on this white person's playground? And he says, no, black people have their own playgrounds, and my white daughter couldn't go there because the black community is too threatening with violence and guns and all these things, which he essentially equates as like a part of being black rather than an economic force of any kind or or poverty. But you just go, okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a part of this, it's like we're there to hear them talk.
Yeah.
I'm not there to shut them down. I'm there to make jokes when I think they're appropriate. I'm there to sort of try to have as much fun with this tense situation as I can. But I'm sort of there to speak it. Put it all out there, because a lot of people who I talked to when I went there, a lot of people once I came back were like, I didn't know there still was a Ku Klux Klan. And so part of this show was like, no black people said that, just to be clear. But a part of the show is like, speak it, talk about it, say it, so people will believe that this still exists in this country. Yeah, so it's like, it's not about me interrupting them or about topping them, it's about like letting them lay out their thing and then maybe getting a joke in later,
Did you have trouble not interrupting them every now and then, or telling them, just how wrong that opinion was, or just in general where that opinion was coming from and how it was wrong?
No, because I only wanted to interrupt them when there was clear. I mean, to me, if your basic premise is that black people and white people are not the same and they shouldn't mate and they shouldn't, to me, it's like you're building a house on very false premises. Like, this is not going to work for very long. And I only interrupted when I felt like there was funny logic things I could be like one guy was like, the Bible says man should not lay down with black, blah, blah, blah. I was like, the Bible says you also shouldn't eat lobster. Do you eat lobster? He's like, yeah, I love lobster. And I'm like, well, then you're a sinner, sir. Like, if you're going to play by these rules, these are the rules at stake. And so I just think and he laughed at that, and I think I only interrupted when I felt like it was going to help push the conversation forward.
Did you ever feel threatened?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
I felt threatened.
Can you open up?
No, this scene opens with me getting out of a car, or I pull up into this dirt road. We drive down a dirt road, and I open the door, and I pass a guy who's got like a semi-automatic gun of some sort, None of us had guns on the crew. I got out of the car and I turned around and there's a whole phalanx of Klan members, like 6 or 7, all dressed up. And there's a point in the pilot you can hear in the show, you hear me go like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm like I think I made a mistake. Maybe this TV show wasn't a good idea. Like I'm really feeling the fear of like I don't know these people. There could be 50 more in the woods who run out after me. So a lot of the scenes are me sort of trying to find my sea legs while I try to get comfortable with the idea, try to get comfortable with them, relax myself. I find out that comedy actually is a defense mechanism. I was using jokes to sort of back them off of me and to sort of make myself feel more comfortable. So yeah, I would, and also the weight of history. Like whatever these guys are, maybe these guys are just playing. Maybe this is a costume. But these costumes have been associated with the death of a lot of my people. And so the weight of history is with me the whole time I'm there too.
Now, a lot of them, what do you think prompted them to want to sort of meet with you, to want to be on camera with you? Because I think there's almost an olive branch aspect for you going to them and trying to understand them a little bit. Do you think in any way they're trying to extend some sort of weird KKK thing? Like,
KKK olive branch?
I didn't want that. See, I stopped with branches at a certain point.
Yeah,
I was like, no, this can't stay in part of this analogy anymore. But do you think for them they were kind of, to a degree, like, well, I want him to come and understand us?
I think they were more interested in CNN coming. I think they think they're getting the word out. I think I was just the way they thought they were going to sort of get past me to get to CNN. There was a lot of speechifying that we cut out. A lot of like this happened around the time Ferguson was going on. There's a lot of Ferguson talk about why black people couldn't blah blah blah. And I think that they think that this is. I mean, they hope to use this. I think as a way to expand their message. The Klan's ranks are very small. Like in the 1920s, they were like there's like maybe up to 5 million people in the Klan. Now the numbers are in maybe the hundreds or the thousands as far as we know, as far as people know. So they need to recruit new people, or as a friend of mine, Dwayne Kennedy says, they need to start letting black and brown people in. But I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, they know that it's not that they're not in their heyday anymore.
So where else are you going? What other shades of America are we seeing?
Well, the next episode after this, we actually go to San Quentin. I spend time with inmates in San Quentin and talk about rehabilitation and why that doesn't lead to being paroled from prison. That's my favorite episode of the season, actually. Went to hang out with...
Why is that your favorite episode of the season?
Because there's so much in the media about prison and so much in narrative film and TV about prison. And prison's always a scary, dangerous place that we sensationalize. And when I went, I was afraid to go there and make that show. And also I was actually afraid of prison the way I think I'm naturally afraid of prison. But once I got there and met the guys and really talked to them and found out how much rehab they'd been through and how bad they felt for the things they'd done and how honest they were and thoughtful they were, I really liked them. One, a lot of those guys are around the same age as I am. And two, I just felt bad for America that we don't let people out of prison. Like there's no politician in this country who wants to be like, I have let more prisoners out in this state than any politician in history. I'm the paroling governor. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to do that, and yet we should want to do that. The goal should be to people go to prison, they do their time, they do restitution, they rehab themselves, and then they get out and become productive members of society again.
You said that our country in many ways was founded on white supremacy, and I think going and meeting with the KKK is exploring that. But do you think also exploring mass incarceration and going to a prison is as well discussing and trying to understand white supremacy that still exists within this country?
I mean, I kind of think anytime you're talking about anything in America, you're also having a conversation about white supremacy. That was my New Year's resolution, to say the words white supremacy more. So I got it 3 times today. I'm doing pretty good. So funny to me. But yeah, I think that America was built on this thing. If we're talking about politics in America, we're talking about the prison system in America, we're talking about healthcare in America, if we're talking about the education system in America, those are all founded through white supremacy.
Absolutely. So you go to this prison, and then where do you go after that?
After the prison, we also go to Camden, New Jersey to talk about community policing. It's an episode about policing in America.
Is Camden, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, is Camden one of the places in New Jersey that had, one of the first places that had sort of had like new police officers that were privatized police, right?
They went from Camden City Police to Camden County Police. And the idea is that they've retrained the police officer, they fired all the police officers and hired new police. It's a very young police force. And the idea is that the cops are going to the old school policing model of actually knowing people in the neighborhood and getting out of their cars and walking the beat so that when the shit hits the fan, they actually know who threw it, instead of just thinking that the whole neighborhood is bad.
Rounding up the whole neighborhood and beating it out of a couple.
Instead of police being the arm of the military, they're actually an arm of the community.
And what was that like? What was it like talking to those people?
I mean, it was interesting to talk to the police. They clearly are working on it, and they're clearly the new faces of it, because you can sort of, as cops walk through the neighborhood and say hello to people, you can see the people like, hello? like, I'm not used to this. And the cops are like, hello, citizen, how are you doing today? Nice front lawn. And they're like, okay, sir. Like, it's all very new, and everybody sort of, it's a little bit, I found it to be a little bit stiff, but it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to handle a cop talking to me.
No. I mean, at one time, I was in New York, and I somebody tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around, it was a police officer. I went, what? And he was like, I just wanted to get a picture with you. And I was like, it's like, sorry, you know, we gotta have a history. Your people and my people. But yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally took to that very easily.
Yeah.
And outside of the show, you have a stand-up special coming out as well, right?
Yeah,
it's a pretty busy time for you.
Yeah, it's a show business referendum on Kamau Bell. Yeah, it's on Showtime, directed by Morgan Spurlock, who also works at CNN, and it's called Semi-Prominent Negro, which is what I am. Yeah.
So it's about you.
Yeah, it's about me. I talk about myself, my family, my life, the politics and state of the world, and about the fact that, like, I'm in a weird position that if, like, whenever race things happen in the news, if Van Jones doesn't pick up his phone, or Al Sharpton doesn't pick up his phone, or Kevin Hart doesn't pick up his phone, it ends up to me, a semi-prominent Negro.
How do you feel about that?
I don't want to be a prominent Negro. I don't want to be first on the call list. I'm okay with it. It's too many phone calls.
But is it an odd thing to be, since race things happen quite regularly in this country, and
Yes.
there are...
Since about 1492.
True. But I would say even more so it's explored on mainstream news networks where they're having conversations about it. Is it weird to be someone who has to who gets a call to comment on something? Do you ever not want to comment on stuff?
I mean, you know, there's sometimes, I mean, I think everybody has their area. There's some things I don't want to act like I'm an expert on. I think it's fine if somebody wants my opinion, but a lot of times they call you to be the voice of the black people, and that's what I think is weird about being a semi-prominent Negro. I'm like, no, call Van Jones back. Don't do that to me. Yeah. Don't put me in that position.
You don't want to be the voice of the black people.
I'm not that. I have not. I go to the black people meetings regularly, but I have not been elected voice of the community. I know I don't have that position, so it's not fair.
And at those meetings, they're like, he's only semi-prominent.
Yes, exactly. I'm in the semi-prominent Negro section. Yeah.
How did you get involved with CNN and the show on CNN?
Well, I had a show on FX called Totally Biased. That was first a daily, first a weekly, then a daily topical news show. And that was canceled. And after that, I had meetings with different networks. I thought my career was over, but a lot of different networks wanted to meet with me, and CNN was one. And they thought I would fit in because they have all these documentary series like Bourdain with Parts Unknown, and Spurlock and Inside Man, and Mike Rowe and Lisa Ling. So they're just trying to extend this brand forward with one more person like this guy.
Was going from a weekly to a daily a grind when you were at FX? Was the Daily Show kind of a grind?
Yes, yeah. My Daily Show was a grind. The Daily Show was great, but but yeah, my Daily Show was it was a meat grinder, and sometimes you have material to put in the meat grinder, and sometimes you're the meat you put in the meat grinder. So yeah.
When it was canceled, were you sad to see it go and to not have that job, or were you kind of like, did it feel like a bit of a relief?
I mean, it was such a hard thing to pull off that when it was canceled, there was a little bit, like I say, I compare it to the end of like every Vietnam War movie where everybody's like, goodbye, see you later. I shot myself in the leg to get out of here. Like, it was really, there was a sense of relief that it was over, yeah.
I want to ask, one of the things that you were saying a few minutes ago is that you have a particular lane that you're called to sort of talk about these issues in the news. Are there any things that you're never called to talk about that you wish people would call you to talk about on the news?
Whenever people want to talk about the TV show Shark Tank, I'm pretty much an expert on that, so I could go in on that.
What do you love about Shark Tank?
I think it's a great study of capitalism in America. I mean, it's also just great. It's just a show. I mean, I'm not trying to make too much out of it. It's just a fun show. I like Mr. Wonderful. I like seeing people pitch their dreams. I like the whole thing. But it's also a great study in capitalism in that if you went on Shark Tank and said, I have a Kleenex that I just blew my nose in, but I've sold 1 million units of it, they'd be like, we're going to invest. That's a great idea. But if you're like, I have a cure for cancer, it costs $1, but I haven't sold any, I don't think it's a good idea. It's just about how you've marketed your product, Right.
Yeah. Without having a Daily Show, there is so much going on right now. There is the election happening right now. Do you miss being able to comment on that stuff every day?
No, because I have Twitter and Facebook, so I get to comment on it. Yeah. I have friends I talk to. I can call my friend Jeremy. Did you see what happened? Yeah. So I mean, sometimes there's a thing of wanting to do things more publicly, but then I can still write about it. There's still avenues to get your voice out there.
Can I ask you what you're most surprised by or blown away by this election?
That it took people such a long time to realize that future President Trump was a real thing. You know?
You think you were ahead of that? Like you kind of...
I don't think I was ahead of it. I just felt like I've been watching the country since the election of Obama, and the way that he was pushed back on from Congress, and the way that the right has really never respected him, and the way that Trump led that by demanding he pull out his birth certificate and all that kind of stuff. I just felt like, no, there's clearly clearly winds of change in this country that have built this. This is the chickens coming home to roost, as Malcolm X would say. You know.
Right. There was something that Chris Rock said where this is like the kids that you're trying to put to bed at the end of the night. They know that they're about to have to go to bed, so they act out as much as possible.
I don't know if these kids are going to bed anytime soon.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm just saying it's very realistic. A lot of my friends I live in the Berkeley, California, West Coast, Bernie Sanders country, and a lot of them were treating Donald Trump like he was like Beetlejuice. Like, I'm not even going to say his name. I'm not even going to talk about him on Facebook because I don't want to give him the power. And I'm like, that's not how that works, actually. You not saying his name is not actually going to keep him from becoming president. Yeah, you actually have to get in the field and do things.
Well, you had said that even with these guys, their numbers have gone down so low.
But that's the Klan's numbers. That's not the belief in white supremacy. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of white people who believe what they believe, but aren't stupid enough to wear the costumes. You know what I mean? Like that's a bad look. Like it's just like so. There's a lot of people who believe that America means white and that it's a whites only country and that it would be better if we closed the borders off and didn't let Arabs in. One of those guys is running for president.
Two of them, really.
Yeah, two of them, exactly. It's weird he wants the borders closed, but they're not going to wear those costumes. You know, there was a time in American history where politicians and leaders associated with the Klan and joined the Klan to sort of get the Klan vote. You don't have to do that anymore, despite Donald Trump saying, I don't know, let me look into it.
It's a different kind of rhetoric. But I mean, the right, be it as flagrant as Trump or Cruz even is right now, the right has always had a sort of rhetoric or tone that was like veiled racism and veiled classism.
Yeah, you don't have to convince me, sir. Yeah, I'm just saying that like the idea is that the Klan's numbers are dwindling because that is not associated with success anymore the way it used to be.
Right. I'm just turning over to the audience for some questions. Does anyone have any questions?
Hey man, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I'd like to know, how do you deal with fear when interacting with members of the KKK or people like that? I know if I put myself in that situation, I wouldn't be the most comfortable person in the room. So going into that, mad respect, first of all, and second of all, just how?
I think I dealt with the fear by sort of speaking it and being honest about it. I think one of the first things I said to them was like, when this guy in blue came out and was really loud and angry and aggressive, and I said something like, well, I thank you, I appreciate the fact that you invited me here today. And then I also said, and I appreciate the fact that you let me leave. You know what I mean? So I was just very honest about about what was going on and speaking it and being honest about my fear, not trying to hide behind being tough or being a man or something. I was just like, I used my fear as a way to fuel the conversation and the jokes, you know?
We have time for one more question.
Hey, thanks for coming, and it's so cool that you're on CNN. So you spoke a little bit about white supremacy and Christians in the Bible, but there are a lot of other religions, like I know Odinists and a couple others. Do you think that maybe religious freedom is another topic people could be consulting you on? It's not just for
I don't know if they're going to consult me on it, but I think I have more to learn about all these things. I think that if we get to season 2, I would love to do episodes about Dearborn, Michigan, which is like 30% Arab and Muslim. I'd love to do episodes about Black Mormons. Like I think there's a lot of things out there that we could cover if we get to season 2. But first we got to get to season 1.
Well, Kamau, I have to let you go, but thank you so much for being here. When does this premiere?
Sunday, April 24th at 10 p.m. on CNN.
And when does the special premiere?
April 29th on Showtime.
Big month for you.
Yeah, it's all happening for me.
And both of them are fantastic. I've seen this. This is really incredible. You have to tune into this on CNN when it premieres. Kamau, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.